Hey, and welcome to another episode of SAP Tech Bytes. Today, we're going to cover the continuation of the Advocates app built with the SAP BTP SDK for iOS and UIKit. So last time, we connected our app against the Advocates service on SAP BTP, built the first screen displaying a list of advocates, and the initial navigation to the Advocates details screen. And today we're going to cover how to implement search to search for advocates by name or by focus area, as well as implementing the details screen for the advocates app.
What we want to do now is in the Advocates app on AppGyver, we had the search bar. We want to implement that as well. So for that, we go back into the Advocates table view controller. And in here, we just got to add a couple of lines of code. First of all, we want to define a new list called searched advocates. And we want to have a search controller, which is of type FUI search controller in this case. And then we will have a setup search bar. We call in the view to load, and this search bar we just put in here the initialization code. So search bar setup, and I've prepared that already. So we have this setup search bar method we want to define, and that's just creating the FUI search controller, sets the search results updater on self, and does some additional setup here. We don't want to have barcode scanner enabled. That's a feature on the FUI search bar. And then we just set the search control search bar on our table header view, so it's being displayed up there. It's complaining because self is not conforming to UI search results updating yet, so we write an extension here, and I've prepped that as well. And that extension will just extend advocates table view controller with UI search results updating. And here we implement the update search results method, looking for the search text, and then call search advocates. And the search advocates method we define right below the setup search bar with some with two additional helper methods, which I go through here with you. So we have the search text is empty. This is just checking if the search bar text is empty or not, returning a Boolean. And the same thing is if we're actually searching. This is looking if the search controller is active, and the search text is not empty because then we are searching. The search advocates method gets a search text, which is string, and then here we can filter on the advocates array with the advocate member here, and then we pretty much do the same thing. We safely unwrap that. If anything of that is failing, we return out of the search advocates. If not, we have our search logic here, which is just taking the first name, last name, and the focus area, putting them together in one long string, lowercase them, and then we do the search text contains. So we know if that string here contains our search text, and then we reload our table view. And that's all we got to do to implement search. So we recompile it and check if it's working. So we see the search bar up here. We can actually interact with it, and we can search, and that should actually work. It does not. So let's see what's wrong. Of course, we gotta adapt the data here because right now it's just reloading the table view, but still displaying the original list of advocates, not respecting our search logic. So first of all, in the number of rows in section, this changes depending on our search result. So instead of returning the advocates count, we check if we are searching or not. If we're searching, take the searched advocates array and the count of that. If not, take the advocates. And here in our cell for row add, we do the same thing. We check if it's searching or not, and then depending on that, we give back a different element from a different array. And this is our search logic being complete. One more thing which I forgot is if we have the did selected row add, we got to do the same thing, right? Because if the user searched and you have the refreshed list and it goes to the original advocates list, the index path will differ, and we will get a different result and pass in the wrong advocate to the detail view. So we just do the same logic here as well. And now we rerun this, and this should actually work. So let's try the search again, and search for Finlay, and we see the search is actually working. And we can look for our advocates, first name, last name, and the focus area, let's say data to value, and we see that works. Now what we want to do is implement the detail view controller. And the detail view controller, as you remember, just displays the name and the title, focus area, and its description. And with that, we do some auto layout magic, I would say. Let's us put in 3 labels, and we just drag them somewhere where we want them. So label 1, label 2, label 3. Let's style those labels. So first we want to have the large title, I think. I'll just put this in with my name. All right, that's all right. Next, we have that label. This could be of type, maybe title 1. No, this is a little bit too big. Let's go with title 2 then. That's better. And here we put in developer advocate, and that these text values I'm putting in, this is just for me so I can see the arrangement a little bit better. And the last thing would be the focus area, which could be SAP extensions, or actually SAP BTP extensions. And this we let be the same size, so we select the title 2. And now to make our auto layout a little bit easier, we put all of that into a stack view right here, 3D embed in. We see it layouts nice. Now we got to do some constraints. Now we do, oops, yeah, not that. We do some vertical spacing to top layout. Did I do the right thing? Oh no. From the stack view, of course. Vertical spacing top layout, and then we do some leading spacing to container. We let it grow all the way to the right, and right now all the way down there. But what we're going to do is putting in a text field, I think. Let's see what we got here. Let's do a text view. Put in a text view, and we align it right below. And we say to the stack view, we have a vertical standard spacing, and then also we're orienting ourselves to the leading of that stack view. And it probably wants to know how far it can grow over there. So we're saying trailing. And we have a bottom, which is vertical spacing to bottom layout. Here, we just simply change these values to the standard constraints. So we just go through here. We see there's a constant of 20. So we just say we want standard 16. We probably don't even have to change these. I just want to change the other 2. But as we're on it. So here we see it's like 119 points. Just get rid of this, and it grows to the right. And we do the same thing for the bottom layout guide. And we just take the default here as well. And we see it's nicely growing. What we want to do now is, as these are static fields, we just create outlets for them, and this we can do with the assistant view. And now we can just select the first one, and we say this is our name label, and we want to have that for the other one as well. Just call title label, and this one we call the focus area label. And of course, for our description, we do the same thing. And we just call this description label. And we see this is a little bit off here. So just type that up here. In the view below, we just populate the data now. So we can just say title label text. And this is the advocate dot first name plus last name. And we just do this for all of them now. And I just want to save some time here, so I'm stealing that from my sample project. But as you can see, we do the same thing as we did before. We safely unwrap that and then just set the values as we need. So here it says description label dot text is description, and now we can rerun this, and we should see a beautiful detail view controller again. Let's search for the extension, and we have two of them, so we just choose Dana, and we see we got our information up here, and it's looking good. It's not looking exactly like the Advocates app for the AppGyver, and that's because we have to change the colors of the labels as well. And we can do that simply by going into our view to load and using the color library extension we got on UI color provided through the SDK. And we set its primary one and tint color here. And these should represent somehow the colors we used in the AppGyver. And we see it looks better than before.
Great, we finished our Advocates app with the UIKit based approach and the SAP BTP SDK for iOS. So we've learned how to implement search, and we've learned how to display the Advocates details in a separate screen. And for next time, we're going to cover how to build the Advocates app using SwiftUI, connecting the SwiftUI application against our CAP service, the Advocate service, and how to generate the proxy classes and create the data source layer using the OData proxy class generator and the SAP Fiori for iOS design language implementation on github.com, which is from the SDK team itself. So stay tuned and see you next time.